Hail, hail, the Celts are here, and what the hell does anyone care anymore, honestly, man? We are here, and I thought I would kick on live and loud a little bit earlier, so we've got a lot of transfer stuff moving. I was talking, I think it may have been on Friday on the stream we did, but Martin O'Neill was quoted as saying, the question was, will there be any new signings for the game at the weekend? And the answer to that was no, but it doesn't rule out things happening in the lead up to the game. Obviously, we're not going to have anyone, certainly now at this point, obviously, but even in the lead up to it, in the building, registered and all that stuff for the game this weekend. And from last night into today, we have had a little spade of different rumours and stuff coming out. And I wanted to chat on them with you guys. And towards the end of the show, we'll catch the team sheets coming out for Celtic versus Falkirk. And then we'll kind of a mini preview for that. And, we'll love yous and leave yous. And on we go to the game and everything thereafter. But good to see you all live and loud. Fist bumps on arrival. Just need to fix my barnet. And I've been listening to the tunes to try and get myself somewhat up for this in some way, because it's just honestly, like, I think like last night, the first thing I seen was, or not the first thing that I remember in terms of like all these kind of breaking stories and whatever coming out, was this guy Nardan Malahusinovic. Now that's my first attempt at saying it. I think I nailed it. I think I nailed it. This is a guy that I've got no idea about. Noah. I think they're from Armenia. They've been in Europe this year. I forget what competition it was exactly. But this is a guy I'm not aware of at all. I've not really had any sort of look at him, to be honest with you. Tall centre forward. He's got some credentials under his belt already. A top scorer in some division, a Slovenian champion, 2 times Bosnian champion, Bosnian Cup winner, Super Cup winner in Bosnia as well. And I've really got no opinion on this, but I just thought when I seen this, like, why are we shopping so far down the packet, so far down the food chain? Was just the first. Again, this guy could be great. I've got genuinely zero kind of scope on it. But the report came from Rudy Galletti last night. Rapid Vienna have made an approach as well, which, it's funny. We seem to swim in the same waters as a few of these other, I say other because we are kind of now in that category, aren't we, of minnows, obviously you see Kieran Bowie going to Verona, and I think Verona have just they've just sold someone for big money to AC Milan, I think it is, and I think they might have somebody else coming in. You see some of the business that Lorient even have done, and there's a link even with Lorient as we get through this video. And Rapids Vienna as well, of course, we've got Nicholas Kuhn from. I think we even got Ball and Golly from them as well, didn't we? We sold them Telio. So there's been, again, just some parallels there as well, isn't it? So just weird that we continually are in the same category as so many other, I say other again, because it's just where we are, provincial clubs. On the same note as this as well, I did see this as well, Avalars, when I went to go and get the article today, but I missed this from Peter O'Rourke. This was 23 hours ago, so not quite a full day yet. But Bodo Glimt have put 10 million quid on Kasper Høgh. That shouldn't be an issue. We had 10 million quid dusted off, approved, signed off. The cash was all but the check was all but cashed for Kasper Dolberg. So this really shouldn't. If we want this guy, this should not be an obstacle. Should not be an obstacle in any way, shape, or form. I think this is one that, and again, did we? It's one of those ones, isn't it? Fair, but still, all the same, it's really calling the bluff. If those reports are to be believed, why is this guy not worth the 10 million, especially now in like a real hour of need, a real crisis situation? Not it wasn't back in the summer with Kasper, but yeah, I really hope it isn't. This guy's a wee bit flavour of the month. It's the only thing that's, it's the same with, who was the other guy that we always get linked to? I forget who it was now, but not maybe Patrick Berg. I don't think it was Patrick Berg who I was thinking of, but there was another guy like that, and it was just like, just got a wee bit flavour of the month about them. But this guy's, he's got a wee bit more of a track record to him than some. Anyway, no chance we'll spend 10 million, says Jerry, and I echo that completely. I've been so pessimistic on this window really since it opened that it just was going to go this way, and I hate to be proven, I do want to say proven right in this regard, but anyway, the thing that really dropped my spirits was this morning was when I seen that we were on the verge of signing Joel Muvuka. Now, again, like, I hate sounding like I know it all or saying anything that makes me sound or feel that way, right? But genuinely, see, when we're linked to people that I have not got a clue about, I'm like, what? Why? Who? It just doesn't make much sense to me. Now, I actually have a friend that's a scout, and he's actually clapped eyes on this guy for the Norway under-21s, and speaks of him in decent regard for his like on-ball ability, how he can dribble and take men out the game, etc. But from his assessment and from everything I've been able to gather independently from that, end product isn't really this guy's thing. He's been playing, this is in League One, isn't it? He had a good performance against PSG, which, is maybe what's, for a winger to do this type of score without getting a goal or an assist is quite incredible. He's won 4 tackles against PSG, which you can imagine they were defending for large parts of this game. But wow, he did actually win 8 duels, only lost 2, made an interception. Again, it's backs against the wall winger action. This isn't winning the game for Lorient. He got a shot on goal, made 2 balls into the box. And a 1-1 draw, I suppose, it's a valuable point, isn't it? But not a guy that really jumps off the page. If we look the year before when they were in League 2, again, a squad player, a few goals. I think he's won a penalty here. Yeah, he won a penalty for somebody, so he got into the box and get taken down. It's just so uninspiring, I feel, And prior to this, he was in Switzerland. And again, we've scouted Switzerland a number of times. Not getting into the team. Who was this even for? Young boys? Surprise, surprise. Like, honestly, I think at this point, we do just look at young boys and Bodo and just look at guys that have walked through their doors at some point and go, oh, let's look at that guy. Does he look the part? I really don't know how this guy comes on anyone's radar. I really don't know how this guy becomes the one that we're going for. Particularly, and this is when he was at Bodo prior to this. So this is like a little bit, we can't go much further back in time here, sadly. But at Bodo, pretty prolific, it must be said. But this is back in 2023. Check the calendars, kids. This is 2026, so a fair length of time before he had any meaningful form of note. I just don't get it. This guy predominantly is a left winger as well. He's right-footed. He can play right wing, but predominantly a left winger. Amenda has started playing for Frankfurt. That's just not going to happen anymore. The Silas Anderson one as well. This guy actually really looks great. And his club, Bran, or Hacken, sorry, they won. We're not going to get much for him because it will just be in Europa League and stuff. Conference League. Is this season? Yes, it is. Yeah, Conference League, I think this will be. But they want 8 million quid for this guy. And this guy looks like the sort of midfielder we could really use. 21 years of age, good prospect. Again, this is only in European competition that we've got here. The Swedish league isn't got the same level of Opta coverage that this site relies on. But Redzig, I wasn't as buzzing about. And the Gajemis one, I actually think Gajemis looked really the part. I can see how Gajemis and this guy have got some parallels. But this guy is like a really watered down version of Gajemis because, again, the minutes, how prolific he is, everything is just like this guy. Surely, when I look at the squad and I think about this guy Mvuka that we're going to bring in, predominantly a left winger but can play on the right. We probably want him to play on the right. That means he's probably just going to be cover for Yang, and on the left hand side, like he's not going to get minutes here anyway, is he? Really, between Dyson and Tuneke, now that we've got strikers in the middle to keep Dyson out wide. So we're buying in a guy. And, one of the things I really put a lot of pressure on myself for when we're doing scouting content, recommendations and whatever, isn't saying, oh, this guy's really good on the left wing, but he could probably play on the right as well. Maybe did a little bit of that with Ogu's Iodine, but he was very prolific on the right wing for a team. So that's a wee bit different. But if we are even looking at guys that are, because you know what? See, right wingers are now. Right wingers are kind of weird to find. There's, because really good right footers want to play on the left, and really good left footers, yeah, they can invert on the right side as well. You do get it, you do see it, but it's not as easy to find, I would say, when you're scratching around looking for it. So I do understand a level of the struggle in that regard, but again, I just do not get this for the life of me. How this is where we end up. The latest link that we had, I'll kind of finish this and I'll get involved with you guys. We'll get some audience participation involved as well. Is right after I seen the Joel and Vuka links, I had to do a bit of a dump run, get some crap out the house and all that. And then I seen that we are like ready to go on Junior Adamu, but someone else is trying to hijack the deal. And I'm just like, come on, man, get this over the line. Junior Adamu is a player that might not jump off the page, right? And I get it, because see, at Freiburg, he's not been wildly successful. He's barely got into the team. He does start more often than come off the bench, so he's firmly in the rotation, but his production has just been minimal since moving to the Bundesliga. And the Bundesliga is really high level, and, that is what it is in its own thing. But prior to that, he was obviously at Salzburg, and at Salzburg, he did struggle with injury. He was a part of a slightly better, and again, this only goes back so far, sadly, but a slightly better Salzburg team at times. I had some Champions League outings and guys like Karim Adeyemi in the squad, and one or two others that have went on to bigger and better things. And this maybe not quite worked out for this guy. But he has been good. He has been effective at that level. And the thing I would say for anyone watching this, right, when you look like Junior Adamu, for me, this is a sort of prospect. Like if we are prospecting players, this is a great guy to go and get, because what you know from Salzburg people or Salzburg players or whatever is they have been educated. They have been drilled. Their football IQ is for them individually. Obviously, people have got like maximum capacity, don't they? But this guy will know the rules of engagement. This guy will know when and how and where and who and why, all that stuff. What age is he at the moment? 24? 24 to be 25 in the summer. So, and he's been playing since the 7 seasons ago. And this is what Salzburg do with all of their prospects. They're really good ones anyway. Is they loan them into this team Liefering in the division below, give them a few seasons of minutes there before they try and bring them through. And this guy already at 24 has 172 appearances in league action. Obviously, this filters by cups, 18 in the cup internationally. He has Champions League experience under his belt, as well as Europa League with Freiburg, another 40 games to that tune. So we'll look at 39 plus 18, 49, 57. 57 plus this, we're looking at 229 appearances, and his goal ratio is like 1 in 3 overall, is kind of how it balances out, give or take. This is like, I don't care what Freiburg fans think of him. And I know it's not going to happen. Some of you guys have said it in the chat as well, but I think if you put this guy up front with Maswinise, and then anyone else, like if you look at all the other forwards we have, if you put Maswinise and Junior Adamu, right wing and striker, and then whatever else you want to do, I think we would be fine. I think we would cook. And if you think about the kind of bar that we've put on Kavankara in terms of goal contributions, I have a lot of faith that Junior Adamu would have the metal, have the material to get 10 goals coming in January. So I really would want this to happen. This is one of the more credible guys I think we've been linked to that I just have a lot of faith in, although it's still on the risk scale, isn't it? It's still a risky kind of thing. I think Kasper Høgh or whatever Hoff is probably the best in terms of low risk. I think this guy's behind him, not right behind him, because he's just not really firing right now compared to Høgh, who's been absolutely rinsing. But for where we're at, like this isn't the same as Nicholas Kuhn, because Nicholas Kuhn had a lot of like really prestigious like youth awards in Germany, where like that's really hard stuff to attain. But this guy's very much of a similar mold, they've got that. There's no other word for it. Education, upbringing, actual care and development in their game, that you're getting a real footballer. Mon said quality over quantity. We are settling for quantity. Yep. It feels like that if we get... Because again, I think I can't remember the quote, but Maloney said something to the tune of we would have multiple signings in, or that was the target, and we were underway with it. And like between... How many names have we spoke about here today? Mvuka, Malahusinovic. I think I've done it again. 2 for 2. Malahusinovic, Junior Adamu, and Kasper Høgh. No defenders, no midfielders. Silas Anderson's the only midfielder we've mentioned, I think. And I said it today on Twitter. Like, I'm convinced Dermot Desmond is a Rangers fan at this point. Like, how can you be can you imagine, just for a second, right? Imagine being a billionaire. Billion. Imagine owning Celtic. And then imagine Celtic had all of its own money as well. And then you're third in the league. How can this be the sequence of events that, as the billionaire Celtic fan that owns Celtic with all this money at your disposal, with all the money at the club's disposal, FFP, UEFA financial regulations, we are good to spend another 50 million quid right now in transfer fees, now wages and everything else, blah, 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 whatever. But we are shopping about now as if we have been absolutely screwed on FFP. We've not sold a player in years, and we've been overspending, and we've not made money in so long. We have honestly we have every advantage, every tool, every thing. Yeah, maybe the wages could be tight for a few months until the summer when we sell some guys off. But like we've spoke about multiple times on the channel, like it's the cost of business now at this point, you know, like any little fine or whatever that could happen. UEFA are not going to kick us out of anything if we're over this wage parameter for like 6 months until we sell some guys after the World Cup, you know. So again, like I just can't, I just don't believe he could be a Celtic fan anymore. Like I just don't, like there's just zero diddly reason. And this Mvuka, if he comes in and we get Adamu in, the depth up front, if we got Adamu still, looks really good. Like it kind of does. Like if this is our depth, and I know Kenny's, you guys are probably looking forward to seeing his minutes being minimized, but the depth up here looks really good. Like really, like you're going to really get the. I think with the chances we've been creating between the three of these guys, like we would probably do quite well production wise, but we're still missing. We're still missing in the middle a bite on the wing. Like I'm good to give Yang as much minutes as he's deserving of, but like, we're really risking a lot on this side of the pitch. And never mind at defence, where I think in the eyes of Martin O'Neill and Sean Maloney, they don't have a backup. You know, where's all this stuff going? And really, like, let's call a spade a spade. No one actually thinks we've got a backup in midfield. Maybe you're thinking about Tati and McKibben, but let's be honest, like that's just not going to cut the mustard. And I cannot shake. We've seen Nottingham Forest linked to Arnie Engels last night as well. I have said it since the Leipzig thing came on. Regular viewers and subscribers of the channel will know. I've just got a feeling we're selling this guy. It's going to happen. That anything we do in this window is all going to be paid for by Engels. Maybe it's somebody like Hatate or Dyson. I actually wouldn't, with this Mvuka coming in, I would not be surprised if Dyson was the one shipped out, by the way. And this Gajemis thing, I know it seems like we've stalled. I still think we want to do that deal, but we're just not going to get mugged off on 6 million quid. So I wouldn't be surprised maybe if this was actually maybe something that could happen. Wouldn't rule it out at this point, really. This deal stalling, but is just pure. It's Dahlberg again, isn't it? It's the exact same crap as like Dahlberg and even Yang to Birmingham, where it's like always went quiet on the Western Front. I think Yang was gone in the summer. And now, yeah, to think Yang was gone in the summer and now he's our first choice right winger is mind boggling. In terms of sliding doors and stuff, totally. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. You know they were going to sell Engels. You can just feel it. Engels is definitely looking for a move. If it's on form, you sell Maeda, not Yang. Yeah, totally, man. Totally. Like, and again, Maeda should be a wee bit more primo for the mark. I suppose Yang's in the ascendancy, but Dyson, you just command a better fee for him, don't you? Bigger wages off the books as well. I just feel that there's going to be a sacrificial wage lamb. And how many guys are on the sort of wages that you could air quote sacrifice to allow business to come in? I'm trying to kind of siphon them off to the side here. I'm not sure they're really. Obviously, Ian Acho's contract is up in the summer. We've got an option of a year, so they might even just be thinking about, well, you're going to be leaving, pal. We're not going to keep you. But that's kind of it, really, isn't it? Dyson, Engels, Bernardo, and Balikwisha. These are the only heavy wage earners that are in any way feasible, I think, to move on. Balikwisha's only option is Antwerp, of course. Sean, I echo what you're saying. I've really liked Engels under Martin O'Neill. I think Martin O'Neill was the guy that's actually unlocked Arnie Engels, where Brendan Rodgers couldn't, and that Wilfred, you know, who knows about Wilfred? Celtic never leave a window without banking some profit. You can just feel it, man, can't you? And yeah, I was even saying Adamu and Maswinise, but yeah, Høgh and Maswinise, all the better. Go for it. But sincerely, Junior Adamu, this is one to be not negative about. I think that's probably the best way to put it. You know, this is a guy that, as long as he's fit, this guy's got a track record. He's got an education. He's got like proper experience. You know, like he's won titles with Salzburg. This is a good transfer. This really is a good transfer if we can get this one over the line. I would put it above Kavan Kara, really. So if we've got him or Chavan Chara, I think then we've got 3 1B strikers, which is better than having 2 1B strikers in the kind of the reckoning of strikers that we speak about here on the channel, you know. So I would, if we got Adamu over the line, I would be kind of content with where our actual striker is, as long as they're all fit and we can keep the chance creation coming. But it's this Mvuka, Gajemis, situation. Even the guy Redzic as well, who's kind of on the hook somewhere, is kind of weird. Because again, this guy Mvuka is mainly a left winger, you know, so it boggles the mind in a lot of ways. Just going to put these guys back to where they were. Oh, yeah. I've lost all faith in the board. They are going to maybe get players just so they can say we got players. Yeah, that's what they are doing. They have no ambition. We have a Motherwell striker scoring goals and we're messing about. I think that's the number one thing. Like Maswinise isn't a great player, right? That we should be like, oh, this is, you know, a guy that would, you know, in any case be a great, you know, this is a guy that is just on form domestically. Like you've just got a good degree of confidence that you could plug and play into the team and can score against the defenses that we play against and the goalkeepers that we come up across. And if, like, for a club that's so risk adverse, that is one of the least risky propositions. And for them to frown at the cash around it, like, again, Celtic have just got such a poor handle on the cost of football, the cost of business, really. Yeah, man, Kenny, by the way, Kenny and Welsh, that's not a bad shout. Hot is an upgrade on our current front line unless we sell Engels. He's no coming back. Yeah. Yeah, Michael, I'm the kind of the same. Let's see for today. I'm really interested to see the team sheet because Trusty's suspended. And like if he plays Murray today, I will be flabbergasted. Like, really, why have we brought Welsh in? Welsh has been doing very well in the league this year. And if Trusty's suspended, like, he has to be the guy that plays, you know. I just don't get it. Unless he's back at Motherwell and negotiating a deal. Somebody did say to me that Welsh wants too much money for Motherwell to sign him. So I don't know. Maybe there's another little bit. Yeah, I don't think there's any chance we're going to get Kasper Høgh in either, to be honest. So it's a frustrating situation front to back, isn't it? You know, just going to move these unknowns to the side because I have been meaning to save the depth. Because it's changed a little bit once or twice. Also, I've kicked Kenny out of it. Sorry about that. Johnny boy, if I are getting more blatant by the week, yeah. We don't have any 1B strikers. I mean in our depth chart, not in like the whole pantheon of football strikers, you know. I know we were saying there about Haaland. And one of the biggest criticisms I have on the channel is not reading the comments I'm referring to out loud. I'm really sorry. But that's right. That comment from Celt was saying that we don't have any 1B strikers. Haaland is a 1A striker. Igor Thiago's a 1B. And Johnny Kenny's a 6D, which is a good comment. So love that. Yeah, actually, you know, like I'm very full of sorrow at this point. But strange love, I'm kind of in that space as you, where it's like it's not like rocking me emotionally, you know, because like I could just feel that this is like maybe I'm just got to that age now where it is like they have done this every window, and like that, like for all this, and I say this often enough, and I hate sounding like a broken record, right? But see, for all the stuff that the club want to say out loud in these media things that they do, for them to say that, right? You have to think that they believe some of it. And for them to believe anything that they say and then to act this way, it is the most blood boiling element of it all. Like, how can you believe it was all down to Brendan Rodgers? How can you believe you've got a world class system? How can you believe, you know, Ross Desmond, we make some mistakes, but more often than not, we do well. And when it comes down to the crunch, we get over the line, we win titles and everything. How can you talk, think, and act that way? And we're going to go and get the backup Lorient left winger to play right wing for us. We're going to go and get Nardin Malahusinovic from Armenian football, and we're going to go and get Redzic from Slovakian football. You know, like, and again, like people point to Hearts and Braga came from here and there and all that, and that's fine, right? But you can put confidence in, like that. You know, their criteria is rather strict, and it's got proof in the pudding. Our criteria isn't strict. Our criteria, and we can all see how superficial Celtic's criteria has been over the years. It's international caps, youth international caps, good, strong youth academy, under 3 million quid, da-da-da-da-da. You know, like, we just have a type in that sense, and it's flimsy on actual football players, like what type of player they are, how good they are, what track record they've got in the past. So, like, yeah, Braga and Kizaridis, I get the point with that. And, Celtic fans wouldn't accept those transfers. We'll always accept transfers that happen, I think. But I think for where we're at right now, those are dice rolls. Even for Hearts and Jamestown and all that, they're dice rolls. Now, they kind of stack the odds in their favour, and that's why they get the success or whatever. But for this to be the level that we are going to, how can they genuinely believe anything they say? I forgot Taneki had a link to Hamburg as well. Would not be one bit surprised. Taneki's probably on a few quid as well, by the way, because we paid 5.5 million quid for him and we really forced that transfer through. So, you know, his agent wouldn't have been like, all right, just give us the same wage of Hammerby. You know, he'd have been. So, I don't know, man. Taneki would be a weird one. And yet it's loans, loans, loans. That's one element of this I've kind of overlooked, by the way. Ortega Moreno's not going to come to us. Ortega Moreno's after money. Like, Ortega Moreno, I know he's been sitting on the City bench for a couple of years, getting paid very, very well. But before that, he was a Bundesliga 2, bottom end of the Bundesliga level goalkeeper. And I know they get paid nice money and stuff, but he's very much after like prime time European life. He's not coming to Celtic, Ortega Moreno. I've seen a few people kind of say his name around. It's just not happening. This is a guy that, similar to maybe Emi Martinez, guys, especially goalkeepers, that have like later in their back end of their career peaks. It's all about optimizing that peak and staying at the highest level they can possibly. We need to keep trusty. I agree with you there. Loans everywhere, Quinny. You can say that again, Stephen Kennedy. There'll definitely be window reviews on this channel. As soon as it closes, you can bet your bottom dollar on that. And I've already got a collab lined up for it, one that I know you guys will love. Mula Husinovic, I'm getting very good at that, has had more free transfers than I've had hot dinners, and he currently plays in Armenia. Now, it's actually kind of funny because on that note, like, that's a very good observation. Well, and I don't want to discredit it, don't get me wrong. But did you read that article this week about Tierno Barry getting rejected from Hamilton Accies? And then he goes to Villarreal, does all right, goes to Everton, obviously he's in the Prem now. Again, like, some people are just, they do struggle to find their place. And I'm not trying to give this guy any credibility or any credence, but it's just the first thing that pops into my mind as you highlight that. Great observation, mate. I say I've not even looked at the guy, to be honest. You're talking about Taneki? Mate, we paid 5.5 million quid for him. You know, like, there's no way he got a poor man's wage or a squad player wage. You know, he got an important first team player wage. How come we're the only club that keeps missing out on targets? Because we do such a bad job at selling, selling the club to people, because we have no vision. You know what I mean? Like, it's really easy to sign for teams that have ambition and they're going somewhere, even if they're not winning right now, you know. But how do you think Bodo Glimt get all their players to come back? Because they're like, listen, we're going to try and have a stab at Europe this year. It's my number one. And again, we brought this up again recently. I don't want to harp on it for too long, but it's my number one pet peeve around the Ronnie Dyla era, when the Rangers reformation time, you know, when they were touring Scotland, the Rangers tour of Scotland that happened for 5 years, when that was going on. Like, the biggest regret or the biggest pet peeve I have from that is that we didn't try and let PSG up. And what I mean by that is, the kind of thing with PSG for a number of years was they don't even need to try in the French league because they win it by so much, so they put all their effort into Europe. And like, how far would that have got us in the old Champions League format, etc.? Probably not very far. But in the old Champions League format, you could finish third in the group and go into Europa League, etc. We were in the Europa League regularly anyway in that time. And for us at that time to not try and, like, oh, do you know what? Let's have a go at it. You know what I mean? Let's push the Europa. Let's have a run at it. And there is just, you know, when you see that they don't even take the easy, low risk opportunities, and now it's like the crunch time, under pressure, risk reward appetite situations. Like, it's just crazy, man. It's just absolutely crazy. Who is this striker, Junior Adamu? Some are saying we've struck a deal with. Coffee, I kind of spoke about him a little bit more earlier on, but is it one of the best prospects we've been linked to? I recommend you scroll back in the video. I don't want to repeat it all and kind of bore people to death with the same stuff twice. But I don't let his Freiburg credentials kind of sour me on this, having seen the guy play a fair bit at Salzburg and seen his track record, obviously, overall at his career to this point. A guy that's got a good football education, a guy that's got a development, a background, averages consistently a goal in every three in like all competitions for kind of everywhere he's been. And at 24, I think like this is a guy that you put up front for us. You know, the bar we set for Chvanchara was 10 goals between now and end of the season. I think this guy would walk to that, to be honest with you, no problem. Yeah, Michael, we spoke about that earlier in the stream a little bit also. I could see it. I definitely think a big wage player leaves. I don't think it's I don't think that's a stretch of the imagination. I think it's more probable than unlikely. Yeah, exactly, you know. And do you know the number one thing we need at the end of the window, as much as on this channel we will be doing a post-mortem, as it feels like it will be at the moment, the club 1,000% have to have a proper, like, fans forum situation, you know, and be candid and be transparent. What happened with, let's just use the example of Kasper Høgh. Tell us about that. How did all that pan out? And just, and I'm one for, I don't think we need absolute transparency and accountability on who did we go for, why didn't we get them. But we are at like an extreme point right now where imagine we finish third. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real contemplation. It's a real scenario that could happen. I really hope it doesn't, man. I really hope it doesn't. That's part of the thing. Like, somebody said this to me as well, and the kind of the little seed is growing roots in my mind. Maybe Motherwell just actually are not going to sell him, you know, right now. Because again, I heard Gordon Duncan saying it on the radio, which, you know, when somebody else had said it beforehand, this maybe poured some more water on that little seed. But Gordon Duncan said, like, that, you know, Motherwell and Maswinisi, their options for him in the summer won't really be any different to what they are now. If they sell him now, they kind of screw their season. So maybe Motherwell are just like, nah, you're chill, you know? So maybe it's not even feasible. But again, I think if you phone them up and say, here's 6 mil, you change people's minds quickly, you know? So again, it's an opportunity cost situation. Motherwell will be thinking, okay, imagine we finish third or fourth, we get into Europe, that's worth X amount. Then we sell Maswinisi anyway for Y. You know, that means this season is worth to us 7 million quid or whatever. I'm just making up a number. If we give them that now, they might just go, screw it, let's go for it. You know, give them Welsh and Kenny while we're at it, you know, something like that. You could just like really test their resolve. And I've said as well, I wouldn't rule out that maybe we were scouting the manager on that night, by the way. Or maybe Elijah Just, whose name has just not been in the frame at all. But just a thought. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Regina. I won't believe anything's happened until pen to paper is there, scarves above someone's head. Can we just buy a player who's actually getting a game for the current team, Willie Larson? That would be great. And again, like we had this discussion the other day, I'm not going to say the son of the king's name again, but if this is the level we're shopping at, really, like, why aren't we just going and getting someone like that who's playing there's a real chance we could finish fourth, says Hada. Like, honestly, that is where it's getting to right now. AJSC Tech, anxiety is too high at the moment. I'm relaxed because the league doesn't matter as long as Rangers don't get Champions League. Yeah, I suppose if Hearts get Champions League, it's kind of more like, yeah, we're both as bad as each other in a weird way. Not that that's any, is that really a silver lining? I'm not sure. You know, the one thing, and I'll say it again, but the one thing that I've been really excited about from a Celtic point of view with the Hearts situation is it holds a mirror up to Celtic at how prolific you could be in Scotland if you try. You don't go, oh, it's Scotland. Nobody wants to come to Scotland. We don't have the money. Team's out. Brilliant. Let's just segue into game preview, because that's the one thing about match day is for that 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever, before, during, and after, you can kind of forget a lot about this stuff and just kind of turn your mind off to it. Just hopefully get some goals, hopefully enjoy some soccer ball. Here we go. Schmeichel, Araujo, Murray, Scales, KT, McGregor, Engels, Nygren, Yang Maeda, Chvanchara. Not really a surprise. Welsh has made the bench. Donovan Forrest, Hitate, Bernardo Tuneke, Iheanacho, McKeown, Sinisalo. Scales and Murray in 2026 is kind of funny in its own way, isn't it? Right, okay, let's have a look at Falkirk we're playing today. Will we go and get their team up as well? I think we might. Actually, yeah, I probably should have did this a bit better. Sorry, guys. No Balaquisha on the bench? No Balaquisha on the bench? Jesus, man. Guy is gone, man, isn't he? Bernardo's on the bench, isn't he? Yep, Bernardo Hitate is the mids on the bench. Nygren starts. Tierney is fine. Murray starts. Trusty suspended. Donovan, no Ralston. There we go. Let's lead Falkirk. This is the team that we have for today. Scales is going to see a lot of the ball, you feel. Araujo, again, I'm really waiting for an Araujo performance where we see him being like an attacking outlet. Something that he's really very much got in his repertoire, but we've not really seen him open up the legs yet. If there is angles, and if there really is interest in angles, like we could get a shop window, a farewell performance effort. So watch out for any kind of tells on that, perhaps any extra lung busting efforts, tells and celebrations and all that kind of good stuff. Dyson peeling off the left with Kvankara. Hopefully they can pick up where they left off before Kvankara had to get subbed off. And yeah, like it's pretty much the team we expected. There's not really too much to go into detail with it here. The thing with Falkirk, and again, we'll maybe double check how they're lined up real quickly. Not that I know their team that well, but some of the players being different might tell us something about game plan or even just availability of key players. I think, do they have a video team sheet? No. That's from yesterday. Yeah, Falkirk haven't put their team out yet. So we'll watch out for that one. But Connor Allen, again, we're chatting about Welsh. Connor Allen's one of the best centre-backs in the league for me, outside of like the obvious big teams and all the rest of it. Keelan Adams, if he plays, Brad Spencer. It's a hard-working guys that are quite clever on, you know, the style of play that they want to go with. Exit out the wide areas, try and break with numbers through the middle, and try and punish mistakes. And where could the mistakes come today? I think, you know, like, again, looking at the Utrecht match and the goals we conceded there, it's always this space in between midfield and defence. And you know that McGlynn is going to have Falkirk tuned up to getting into those spaces and hurting Celtic and, you know, putting us in two minds. Do we retreat? Do we confront the ball? Do you swish over? Do you catch them offside? Do they break the lines? This is the sort of thing they're going to play for. The good thing is, against Falkirk, we've had a really good track record over the years. Even in recent times, under all the turmoil we've had, I don't think we've dropped points to them yet. And I think that gives me some confidence coming into the game, although we know that Falkirk are not to be underestimated in that way. But I do feel that with Kvankara starting, Maeda having the wing action on the go with some support around him, I feel like this is going to be a good game. And I'm really looking forward to just thinking about the football for a couple of hours rather than all this transfer stuff, which is, I say, blood boils, you know, to this point. Big performance from Tierney expected. We also have Aberdeen midweek. So it's been a very busy kind of fixture pile up for us. I expect us to really fully use the bench with Aberdeen midweek. I know Aberdeen are going from bad to worse, but the way Aberdeen are going, you just wouldn't rule out that we could get a banana skin on that. And we have got no room for error. If we put the table up, a wee bit of sore reading, sadly, going into this one. But we have a game in hand on Hearts, just to put that into context again. But on 6 losses, we cannot, we can't lose or draw. We can maybe take an our draw or two. We can't lose any more games, really. So banana skins are out the equation. There is no margin for error in that regard, and that starts from today. I'm glad we started with as strong a team as possible. I do think Murray is very questionable. Like, why is Welsh injured or something? Like, has he picked up an injury since he came back to Celtic? He's been one of the best defenders in the division for Motherwell. So Murray's got a really high, not that Welsh is a super high standard or yardstick or anything, but Murray really needs to show something in this game. Really does. He can't just be a passenger centre-back where he just gets the ball and lays it to Scales or lays it to, like, you know, just the one easy connector pass, you know, like this. Like Murray, I'm not saying I need to see him breaking the lines and whatever, but I need to see him really do something in this game. This is the first time I'm putting a bit of expectancy on a Murray performance It needs to show something here. Not that I'm saying that Welsh deserves the shirt or should be in, but Welsh has shown domestically this season at Motherwell that he should be tippy top A-OK for this match to do it for us. And it's not just that Murray should be no mistakes. It should be Murray should look good today. That's the way I look at it. So this is it kind of ties back into that PSG reference I made earlier, right? But that is one of the struggles of the paradigm, is that domestically you don't get that test to be like fighting fit for when the big games come. You really need to kind of manifest that internally, is the way people kind of speak about it and think about it, isn't it? Whereas like now, like I make you totally right. Like the Scottish League this year, like for anyone that wants to badmouth it, fine. But genuinely, I know Hearts are really the tail of the town, but Motherwell have been quietly very good for a while, and they've had like they're having a wee bit of a zenith right now of all of their kind of good work over the last couple of years coming together. Hibs maybe not too dissimilar way, same with Falkirk. I think the league has got to a really good place this year, and if it can maintain where it's at and even kick on in some regards, imagine Motherwell could have a good Conference League campaign one year. Hearts could do something in Europe in the next couple. I mean, something, beat some teams, get some points, help the coefficient, pull some weight. The SPFL could be looked upon very differently very quickly. Because it's, and I hate to use the word British, right? But because it's also like British football, it's got that parallel to England in terms of like if you can handle the rough and tumble up here, like we've seen it so many times, people move down south and do very well, and equally players that have done well down south can work here as well. And we could maybe finally burn as a league, as a country, a bit of a path, an inroad into the football food chain a bit clearer, because it's quite clear, like for example, Austria, so many of their players go to Germany. It's the same sort of dynamic as what I'm talking about here. Not that we want to aspire to be the Austrian division, because it's not super high level overall, right? But even that, like all the clubs in that league could sell a guy for 10 million quid, for example, 20 million quid to Freiburgs and Mönchengladbachs and Dortmunds and whatever. And none of our, like, if any good players in this league leave, they play League One in England most of the time, you know what I mean? So like that kind of thing is maybe lifting a little bit as well, which is get a net gain, I think, hopefully for all of us. But yeah, I hope we get a good result today. Of course we do. I don't know. I'm quite confident that enough of the front line. Again, Dyson has been a really weird figure recently, hasn't he? But I don't know. I've got a good feeling that this will be a football match. And again, when it comes to Engels, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about the Utrecht match, like, oh, European football kind of suits them better. It's football. Football suits some of our players better, because if you look at the Utrecht match, if you look at games in Europe, we are playing an even match of football where the opposition that we're against don't just retreat into their half and they try and attack us. They break forward with like 4 or 5 guys. They leave space open. There's space for us to play in. We leave space open. They play into it. And it's more of a normal football match. And what I mean by that is if you go in to play for any other team in the league, in any other league around the world, very few teams dominate the way Celtic do domestically. It is like domestic leaders you need to look at, Bayern Munich, etc. Traditionally, not this season. Obviously, Celtic are terrible this year. To see who replicates that well. So I don't really see it as it's football. And today will be a football match. Falkirk will play football at times. They will try and take opportunities when they arise. They will leave some space once in a while. I'm not saying they won't be defensively sound and disciplined. Of course they will. Brad Spencer and Tate have been very good at breaking up play against us in recent matches. But you might see a wee bit, and again, we mentioned shop window syndrome, but you might see a bit more space, a little bit more joy out of Engels in a game like this, particularly at home, with Araujo and Yang on one side, and if Tierney and Dyson are on. Yeah, it just feels like it's got a bit of balance and a bit of cohesion coming back into it, where if we keep hold of the ball, we get the ball into the box, we make chances, I think we score. What I did want to think about when it came to score predictions for the game today was our kind of head-to-head, because, like I say, we have played Falkirk a couple of times this year under, I think, every manager so far. Am I right in saying that? I'm not sure if Rogers played them this year, but obviously played them last year. So let's see. Yeah, we beat them 1-0. That would have been, O'Neill's first game both times has been Falkirk, hasn't it? So Nancy didn't play Falkirk. That would have been this season in the Cup. We beat them 4-1. Maeda, AJ, Dane Murray. And then an OG at the end. I don't really remember this game too well. Was it it was a cup game? Sinisalo played? Yeah. Sinisalo. Yeah, this was a big rotation. McKeown for Hitate. Kenny started. Is this when guys were injured and stuff? Yamada off the bench. Ida. Yeah, so this was a different time. Jesus, man. How long has this season been? You know what I mean? How long has this season been? So let's see. Sorry, we beat them last time. What was it? 1-0 at their place. Yeah, we scored. Wow. Yeah, 3 or more the last 4 times at Celtic Park. Yeah, I'm going to go with a 4-0, 4-1 today. I think that's the sort of game that we're up for. And I think, like, if we can clean this up a bit. Tuneki's on the bench, isn't he? I'm sure he is. Iheanacho, Tuneki, Forrest, McKeown, and then probably Hitate. Like, that is a good raft of subs, even if we don't use Forrest. Like, that is a way better, like, second half entendre, you know, or reinforcements. Yeah, I'm going to go clean sheet. I'm going to say aye. I'm going to say aye. I'm going to say aye. I think we're going to go. I'm going to go with Celtic 4-0. Kvan Kara's going to get 2. Negren has to get 1. Maybe Negren gets assists. Negren's just a goal contributions guy, isn't he? But no, Kvan Kara for 2. 4-0 to Celtic. That's as much as I'll go. 4-0. Yeah. I'll go 4-0. Yeah. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, everyone. If you've not done so already, please do smash the like button. We are just about an hour away to kick off. We've been live and loud for a little while, chatting about the transfer prospects that we've got in and around Celtic at the moment, what we think and feel about them, and really where everything's going right now. I just want to check the Twitter sphere one more time just to see if there's any more. Yeah, I've got tons of notifications. I'm just trying to keep on top of here, but yeah, it's just all the same news. Nothing news broken in, guys. I know probably you're not what? I'm not too sure. But yeah, if you've not done so already, please do smash the like button. I did see that the Japanese manager was at the game the other night as well. Some of you are mentioning that here. In fact, if he was told, I'd be more agitated for the move. I don't know what that means. Sorry. I do think the Japanese manager being there, though, I did think that was interesting. You know what I mean? Like, we've never. I think we've seen Moriyasu before. It was obviously a European match, wasn't it? But I think we've only seen Moriyasu before at Celtic Park for Champions League. So it's not regular that we see him. So I did find that an interesting detail. But it will be interesting to see if one of the Japanese players moves in the window, because we know that he also had a big influence on Kyogo leaving, allegedly. Or maybe even if Hitate is somehow, because Hitate was sitting with him in the stand, wasn't he? Because he was suspended, him and the Korea manager. So maybe Hitate's been in his ear, being best pals with him, you know. Hamburg are signing Otelli, another name we were linked to. Joe Henry, you made it live. Love to see it. Love to see it. When the live chat finishes, if you've not put your score predictions in, or even if you have, but when this live stream finishes, the comment section opens up. Leaving your score predictions in there is the best place to leave your receipts on the internet to say that you called it when the game is done. We smashed through 17,000 subscribers the other day as well, everyone. So thanks for all the support. We are hurtling towards 18,888. If you've not done so already, please do hit like and subscribe for more content like this. I'll make sure that we're back on live and loud if any developments happen with these players, and we'll go a bit more in detail to them, what it means for the squad and all the rest of it. But with it being deadline day tomorrow, I'm sure we're going to be all hands to the pump. We'll have a breakdown today. Hopefully there's no like drama today, like fucking VAR or crazy injury situations or anything like that. Feeling the worst out this window, totally. I'm a great guy. I'm with you there too. All that was wrote on his scouting pad was Bovril with a question mark. I don't know whose scout pad that was. T McBee, me and you are drinking the same tea today, McBee. 4-0 to the Hoops. Kvan Kara for 2, you're saying as well. We're going with Nigrin and Yang. Love to see it. Now, guys, the magic number, if we want to have some good luck today, the first magic number we have to get to is 88 likes. We're currently on 79. Before I end the show, if we could get to 88 likes, that would be absolutely fantastic. On the Lennon scouting pad, of course. 11 p.m. tomorrow is the deadline. Yeah, we're going to have so much to get through in the next 24 hours. I look forward to catching you there for all of it. Thanks to everyone that has tuned in this afternoon live or after we've been live. Really means a lot. Enjoy the game. If you're going there, good luck to you. Travel safe. I don't know how you've got the patience for going there and looking at the place right now because, it just makes you so... I don't even think angry is a word anymore, is it? It's just like pain in a weird kind of frustrating way. Not too sure what the word is, but anyway, have a great time. Let's hope for some good football for a couple of hours, eh? And I'll see you afterwards somehow, somewhere. Like, subscribe, share, and retweet for more, of course. Hail, hail, and on the hoops.